இப்போ கனெக்ஷன் வந்திருக்கு, கனெக்ஷன் இல்லைன்னு சொல்லிச்சு. Welcome to today's discussion on input tax credit. One of the closing discussions on input tax credit. We have been discussing on input tax credit on various aspects. One such aspect is blocked input tax credit, blocked ITC, very popularly called as. As far as blocked ITC is concerned, it's been specifically identified in section 17.5, where under section 17.5, no doubt, a passenger transportation motor vehicle which carry passengers less than or equal to 13 in number are blocked from ITC. So anybody who is going to anybody who is going to claim input tax credit on procurement of motor vehicle, yes, they will get blocked if in case they are going to procure a motor vehicle which carry passengers less than 13 in number. Similarly, when the capital goods claim is blocked, understand this way, this is the easiest way. When the capital goods claim is blocked, it's related input tax credit in terms of repair, maintenance, reconditioning, renovation, all are getting blocked. So is it only the capital goods is blocked? I incur a revenue expenditure year on year on these vehicles for an extended warranty, or it is a repair and maintenance, insurance, or even I'll go one step forward. I am not procuring the vehicle, I'm taking the vehicle on hire, completely blocked. Completely blocked. Same in the case of a person who is going to procure an aircraft or a vessel and use it for his own purposes, that company own purposes. Their mainstream business of the organization is jewelry. However, they have an aircraft for transporting the top executives. They have the aircraft for transportation of certain specified jewels from one location to another location. So this is the catch in this discussion. So in those circumstances, how it has to be handled? Because see, as time passed by, as we have a little great exposure to certain things and certain matters available, there are jewels which are available for about 65 lakh rupees, 85 lakh rupees, a crore and 25 lakh rupees. I'm talking of a jewelry, that's all. Sir, it can be weared only, no, sir. Yeah, it can be weared. But the point here is the one, the antique value associated with the jewelry is little high. To the kind of precious metals and stones which are contained in the jewelry is high. On the other day, when we were discussing with a particular jeweler on a very pointed issue, he said, Ganesh, look, this particular Kohinoor so and so cut diamond of so much carat, a single stone, dosham free diamond, is available in Maharashtra store of mine. From there, my customer is now in Chennai, and my customer want to see that. I have did my own homework. My customer is a regular customer. If he procures it and if he finds it comfortable, he will buy it. But now how to transport this small box? We are talking of maximum one box, that's all. Let me repeat it. Can I put it in air consignment? Sorry, the first question, the air consignment, air cargo gives a declaration is, if anything happens to the consignment, you will not come and claim back to us, because the cost of transportation through air for this parcel is going to be 15,000 rupees, whereas the value associated with that parcel is going to be 65 lakh rupees, 65 lakhs. Tomorrow you will not claim from me anything. You write and give me, then I'll allow you to transport my goods. I am not joking, I'm very serious. A declaration they ask, if your goods value is going to go beyond 2 lakh rupees, no courier organization is interested in taking liability, because his cover policy maximum allowed is 2 lakh rupees goods. Can I bring it through aircraft of any other airlines? Again, screening this, that, all the others, while transporting, how he is going to be transported, all that matters. Who's going to be that employee? That employee gets down in between and passes away somewhere, what would happen? So these things like this, I'm sharing you only one instance. Like this, 100 examples they give. Sometimes they take the passenger from the respective location to that location. Sometimes they bring the product from another location to this location for various purposes. These items are all used. Now, if it is used by the respective organization, end of the day, no doubt it is used for business. But there is a block on taking credit relating to vessel or aircraft. On the other day, I have given enough examples. Now think about it. It is a company whose main business is into portfolio investments. I'm sure you all are aware of it. There is a group of people called as HNI, high net worth individuals. People who earn a few crore rupees on a regular basis. These high net worth individuals have about few crores of rupees at their disposal. But the end of the day, they are not very sure where to invest on this products. They would have tried some one or two investment models. They would have burned their fingers in a different way. Because of that reason, they now want to engage in a professional company, a professional. They want to engage a company who's into mainstream business of this. So I'm now discussing a clientele company whose main business is going to be portfolio management services. You will make 1 crore rupee, you'll give 1 crore rupee to him. He'll show you a product. He will invest like this, and the growth will be about 18%. Growth will be 20%. Growth will be 24% in a span of 1 year, 1.5 year, 18 months. Some picture he will give. And many times they promise and deliver, they promise and deliver, they promise and deliver, so that people again keep on investing with them more. If somebody keep on investing with you more, two things happens. One, your PMS value will get. Two, they will say, if you achieve that 24%, you have to pay me a service fee. We call it a success fee of so much. It's all black and white, very transparent, put in the agreement. Now somebody has about 5-10 crore rupees. You have to brief him this product. If you brief him this product, see, having 5 crores in FD is not going to be a great investment. We have to brief him the product. When I brief him the product, I'll give you two options. Take him to one of the finest hotel in the city and brief him. That kind of briefing, he would have seen 100 briefings. Now, here there is a portfolio management company who has a private yacht and gathers only that 15 high net worth individual, 15 high net worth individual to that private yacht, ensure them they report by about a standard time, take care of them in the ports, allow them to get into the yacht, take the yacht to the middle of the sea, make the presentation in the evening. Plus, I leave it to your imagination what will happen next. Once your wine and dine, ensure you come back and deliver them. Mark my word, next day morning, the company will get the desired portfolio management clients. Now, here two things happens. One, my business is looked from a different perspective. This yacht, let me repeat, the luxury boat yacht is exclusively used for business purposes. I might either hire a yacht, there would be a repair, maintenance, port charges, movement charges, this, that, blah, 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 various charges. Now my question coins down. Now my question is very, very specifically coins down to a situation where in case of all these aspects, credit is blocked. Whatever be it, credit is blocked. Credit is eligible only if they are going to be involved in their main activities of if that aircraft or vessel or motor vehicle is used for furtherance of business. By using such aircraft, by using such vehicle, by using such vessel, they are going to gain something, or they're going to engage in the imparting knowledge of navigating it or training it or flying it, or it is going to be used for transportation of passengers. Your mainstream business becomes this. Then ITC is eligible. Otherwise, ITC is getting blocked in all situation. Once the capital goods is not eligible for ITC, nothing is eligible. Same in the case of few transactions where they came out and told it could be food and beverage, outdoor catering, insurance, beauty treatment, healthcare services, membership of a club, hiring, leasing, renting, licensing of all those items which are all blocked. On all these items, ITC is ineligible except whose main supply, let me repeat, whose main supply is going to be connected with this supply. Then as a subcontractor, he can claim the ITC. So that too would be applicable in only in case of food, beverage, outdoor catering, beauty treatment, healthcare services. Of course, cosmetic and plastic surgery. Beyond that, that main contractor is outdoor catering, subcontractor is outdoor catering. Can I claim ITC? Yes. Main contractor is beauty treatment, subcontractor is beauty treatment. Can I claim ITC? Can the main contractor on the subcontractor charges? Can the main contractor claim ITC? Yes. So as long as that link is established, ITC is eligible. All those services provided by employee to employer in connection with travel benefits, or it is going to be certain other activities, then no doubt ITC is not eligible. Except where it is obligatory for the employer to do such activity. When it is mandatory for the employer to do certain things, then yes. Coming back here, getting into a crucial discussion. Works contract services. Section 17(5)(c) discuss about works contract services, where as part of this discussion, all those construction of an immovable property. Works contract where there is a supply of goods, there is a supply of material, there is a supply of material, there is a supply of labor, and there is a transfer of property in goods happen from one person to another, and which results in an immovable property. So there should be goods, there should be material, there should be a transfer of property in goods from one person to another, which results in an immovable property. So somebody brought cement, steel, stone, sand, brick, put everything together, constructed a building, End of the day, he is not selling me sand, cement, steel, brick and all. He is selling me a property under construction. Again, this property under construction, is it movable or immovable? My answer is again immovable. When it is immovable in nature, then it would tantamount to, sorry, when it becomes immovable in nature, then it would tantamount to your activities relating to works contract. So in case of works contract activity, all those construction of immovable property is not eligible for ITC except plant and machinery, and except whose main business is works contract services. Let me take up a situation where it is an organization whose mainstream business is manufacturing of cars. A company's mainstream business is manufacturing of cars. This company is constructing its factory for 750 crore rupee. For a 750 crore rupee construction can be broadly bifurcated into two heads. A hardcore 600 crores of construction solely on factory shed and factory buildings. A 150 crore on support structures to plant and machinery. I would have a semi-automatic robot welding machine. To place that welding machine, I need a civil foundation. I would have a column standing for 80 meter. To ensure the column stands for 80 meter till 40 meter, I have to support through a civil structure. I would have a 5 kVA genset. To ensure the 5 kVA genset is away from all the flood basic activities, I require a 6 feet foundation. On top of the 6 feet foundation, I'll place the 5 kVA genset. So on and so forth. You can think of a new factory, upcoming factory, or if you get able to recollect any of your industrial visits, then bring back that knowledge where you come across various machineries, because every machinery invariably require a civil structure. I'm talking of real machineries. I'm not talking of supporting machineries. Maybe a few supporting machinery may not require a civil structure. So it could be a support structure to a plant and machinery. It could be a supporting structure to an equipment, anything. And again, for a better understanding, the same section in its explanation comes out and defines what is plant and machinery. Plant and machinery means it can be an apparatus, a equipment, a machinery fixed to earth, which are used for outward supply. Beautiful wording, extraordinary wording. A wording like this will make will bring the wideness into this law. Before me stepping any further, we all know this. I'm sure a lot of us here all mainstream at an earlier level, we would have obtained commerce as a mainstream to get into all these courses. I just want to know from all of us, what do we mean by plant and what do we mean by machinery? There are many ways in which a plant and a machinery can be distinguished. What are those ways? What do we mean by plant and what do we mean by machinery? Plant means, machinery means. Don't come up with some definitions of and all. No, no, no. Enough definitions we have. Plant, machinery, how it is different. When you call something as machinery, when you call something as plant, is there a line of divide is there? Do we have a dividing line between plant and machinery? Because plant and machinery, plant and machinery, plant and machinery. In income tax, we read plant and machinery. In accounting, we read plant and machinery. Where from 11th standard, we have been asking plant and machinery means what? Yes. Quick, 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 quick. Plant and machinery. How are we going to distinguish? Quick, quick. Some thoughts we have, no, we would have carried. Don't say me, sir, today is the first day I listened to what plant and machinery. Plant means not erected on the ground. Machinery is erected and fixed on the ground. Can you revisit your understanding, Ganapati, or is it vice versa? Plant is installed to a fixed place. Machinery is not fixed to a land. Vaishnavi, nice thoughts. Yes. Plant is an immovable property surrounded by a compound. Machinery is surrounded by a compound means. So the compound wala Hari Prakash, nice thoughts. Okay. So that is why we call it a cement plant, steel plant. Machinery is movable, plant is immovable. This is one proposition that is always made. Just for your information, Temuri, there are also machineries which are immovable. Okay. There are exceptions to this rule, but I completely agree with you. General understanding is plant immovable, machinery movable. But just I want to highlight to you, machinery is also immovable because this is the widest understanding. Yeah, Apurva also comes up with the same proposal. Sir, plant means immovable, machinery means movable. There are many distinctions we can again and again propose on this topic. We can come out and say one which is installed, which can move, one which cannot move. Many distinctions we can bring it. But one of the distinctions which is always looked as a reason is plant is basically a revenue generating apparatus. Plant is treated as revenue generating apparatus. What do we mean by revenue generating apparatus? That that asset by itself brings back revenue to your P&L account, then it would be treated as plant. A steel plant, a glass manufacturing plant, a cement plant, okay, a car assembly plant. The running of that plant will bring in revenue to it. Anything that supports in generating this revenue, all are machinery. Hope you could able to appreciate. Sir, where you brought this distinction, income tax many times bring its distinction only through this way. From a GST perspective, plant and machinery is not a very great deal, but from an income tax perspective, understanding of a plant, understanding of a machinery, improvement to a plant, improvement to a machinery are treated in a different way for capital and revenue expenditure purposes. For our purposes, from a GST perspective, yes. See, there can be many more distinction, but one of the highly highly accepted view is by the courts is a plant is a revenue generating apparatus. If you see a cotton mill, cotton fabric processing plant, it's a plant. The moment you run the machine, automatically it results in your FG. FG will be sold and your money will get generated. Now, in any case, coming back here, if we put an apparatus into a civil structure, then that civil structure will also be included as part of your eligibility to claim. Sir, how you are saying eligibility to claim? Let me conclude this definition, come back and highlight something more. Plant and machinery means apparatus, equipments and machinery fixed to earth, which are used for outward supply, includes foundation or support structure. It excludes only three things. Kindly don't ask me why. Okay. It excludes three things. Don't ask me, consciously don't ask me why it excludes three things, sir. One, a land building civil structure is getting excluded. Other civil structure, not regular civil structure, other than plant and machinery civil structure, excluded. Telecommunication tower is excluded. Pipeline outside the factory is excluded. Three things are excluded. These three things are not treated as plant and machinery. A company like Phoenix Market City Private Limited construct its own mall. No doubt, the mall is constructed for the purpose of generating revenue. A kind of revenue that is generated in the mall is many times different. It's not a regular money. They give the property and collect on the sales a percentage. No jokes. That huge spaces and all is cannot be rented at all. They'll bring the stock, they'll keep it and get a revenue share. A model. Another model where uh, they get to do. Now the point here is they construct their own mall. Can it be treated as a plant and machinery? Can the word plant, which talks about revenue generating apparatus, for me the mall is the revenue generating apparatus, can I claim ITC on my own? No. Sorry, no. Done. Not eligible. So coming back here, those are the challenges relating to it. Followed by telecommunication tower, ITC is not eligible, and pipeline outside the factory, again ITC is not. So my core discussion here is all plant and machinery, wherever it requires some foundation, support structure, ITC is eligible. So then what is actually not eligible when you go back and see? We have splitted the construction into two ways. Construction of factory building, factory shed. Providing support structure to capital, plant and machinery. 750 crores among the 750, 600 crores of building straight away not eligible. But this 150 crores ITC is eligible. That will be the first learning for us. Plus, if the person's main business is works contract service, this discussion itself is not applicable. So what you are trying to say, if the person who is going to give the work is a L&T, then whatever we discussed is not at all relevant. L&T constructions, then whatever we discussed is not relevant because his main business is what? Works contract. Will he be eligible? Answer would be a very simple yes. So when the supplier uses the works contract services for construction of an immovable property, ITC is not eligible, other than if it is used for a support structure or a foundation for a plant and machinery, then ITC is eligible. In case if the person's main business is going to be works contract services, no doubt for the concerned person, ITC should be eligible. It is Hyderabad Metro Rail project. For Hyderabad Metro Rail project, L&T Construction backed the complete contract. L&T Constructions appointed VRL Logistics Limited or VRL Limited, actually VRL Limited, for the purpose of, as a subcontractor for the purpose of a particular construction of 6 kilometers. That 6 kilometers VRL did the work, raised the invoice for 50 crores plus GST. Can L&T claim GST on this 50 crores? Answer would be a very simple yes. Why, sir? L&T's main business is works contract. Then they are entitled to claim ITC. Now, let's get into a next challenge here. Because if I procure the services of works contract from a contractor, ITC is blocked. A next challenge to the industry is, I will not buy as works contract. What I will do is I will buy individual items. I will buy cement from a particular company, steel from a particular company, labor from a particular firm, machinery from a particular firm, hardware items from a particular organization, and then me myself construct my own factory building. Possible. Yes. Government want to deny credit even for that also. All those goods or services received by a taxable person which are used in the construction of immovable property on his own account. Words that are highlighted by me are most important. It should be used for construction of immovable property on his own account, then ITC is blocked, which means he himself construct a building. See, many times when we go, leave the larger corporates and all. If you get into the SME segment, organizations whose turnover less than 500 crores, at least 200 crores less organization of a medium enterprise. If you get into those 200 crore organization, they are very clear. These 200 crores less organizations, many times these organizations are, what is it? These organizations are in the, they'll be largely controlled by the proprietors model, or center of control will be with that respective owner. They will not have a big liking to construct a building by a third party itself. They'll have their own model. They know how to construct and all. They'll appoint some next end workers and they'll construct big factory shells. I'm not joking. Very seriously, they would have that innate ability with reference to us. But what happens here is they buy raw materials, they buy this, they buy that. On all these raw materials which I bought for construction of a building, not from a contractor, on his own account, am I eligible for ITC? Again, the ITC is blocked. No doubt about it. ITC is blocked. Now, are there any relaxations for this? Yes, there is a relaxation, be it works contract, be it goods or services used on own account. If it is construction, here includes renovation, reconstruction, additions, to the extent if it is capitalized, which means if you're going to capitalize, which means you're going to take it to your balance sheet, the expenditure, ITC is not eligible. If you are going to charge to the P&L, then ITC should be eligible. Sir, what you are trying to say? I bought some goods or services, I engaged a works contract for a repair and maintenance purposes, ITC eligible. I renovated it, but it tantamounts to a capital addition and I'm going to capitalize it, ITC not eligible. If it is capitalized, ITC not eligible. If it is repair and maintenance, then ITC is eligible. So that is how the whole discussion moves. So at this juncture, we will do one thing. We will take up a little detailed presentation on a whiteboard. Just give me a minute. For construction of a building, broadly there can be only two models. Model one, you appoint a contractor. Model two, you will construct on your own account. You can construct by yourself, or you may even engage a contractor. Now, in case somebody is constructing through a contractor, again, it would have two models. This contractor will have two models. One, the contractor will engage the works contractor will engage another subworks contractor. There are contracts where you are allowed to do subcontracting. Okay, there's going to be a subworks contractor, and sometimes they will not subcontract the work. They will do the whole activity by procuring various goods or services for construction. Various goods or services is procured for the above works contract purposes. Okay. Now, to the contrary, in case somebody is going to construct on their own, after construction of the own, only one option is possible where they will buy various raw materials, whatever required, various goods, services, which are used for construction. That's all. They buy various goods and services which are used for construction. Now, the building that is constructed sometimes will be the building that is constructed sometimes will be sometimes will be other than plant and machinery. The building that is constructed sometimes will be also plant and machinery. Okay. One more variation is there. I'm holding that variation. Let me come back to that variation sometime a little while later. I'll start accepting certain discussions now. Okay. Request all of you to share your views on the chat box, which is before me, for your replies. Okay. Coming back here. This time we have a company who's been appointed as a works contractor to construct a building. Now, consciously take a different color. The works contractor provided works contract services to works contract services for construction of, let's say, factory building. A works contractor provided a construction of a factory building for which he issued an invoice. Same works contractor provided works contract service for construction of support structure to plant and machinery. We have with us two situations: a works contract service for other than plant and machinery. Further, followed by a works contract service for plant and machinery, construction or support structure for plant and machinery. My only question is, ITC, is it eligible in both the cases to the building? For the moment, don't bring in construction company here in this diagram. The building is a factory building of a person other than construction business. If you want, I also will make a building constructed by a person other than construction business. A building is constructed by a person who is in other than construction business, which means technically this is a building done by a person who don't know ABC of construction, which means he knows something else. He knows business to do his business, but he don't know how to do a construction, all that stuff and all. And my point is here very simple. Don't be much bothered about that fact. This fellow is into business other than construction business. That is their business. So it is a building constructed by a person who's not into main business of construction. That person is getting a bill from a works contractor for construction of factory building, construction of support structure to plant and machinery. Will he be entitled for ITC, the owner of the building? Yes or no? ITC eligible, ITC not eligible. That's all. A services of works contract nature provided by a person to a building owner whose main business is not construction. ITC eligible, ITC ineligible. See, I have given two situations. I want answers for both the situations. Works contract services of construction of a factory building. Works contract services for construction of a support structure. ITC eligible, ITC not eligible. You can treat it as A situation, B situation. You can treat it as whatever be it. Make yourself comfortable. Within 2 minutes from now, this sheet will be the most clumsiest sheet I know, for which we have to follow. Yes, 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 yes. Vaishnavi, check your answer. Kirtana, give me answer for both situation, then I can decide. Balaji, check your understanding. I believe it is vice versa. All of you, others, all of you who have answered, all of your answers are right. ITC is eligible if it is a support structure to plant and machinery. ITC is not eligible if it is going to be a done. Very simple understanding, absolutely simple understanding, no technicality at all here. When it is going to be used as a support structure to make plant and machinery. Now, what is plant and machinery, sir? Plant and machinery excludes land and building, factory outside the pipeline outside the factory, and telecom tower. If you are going to put a telecom tower, if you are going to claim plant and machinery, no, ineligible. If you are going to construct a building itself, no, ineligible. That cannot be treated as plant and machinery. So, but for it, sir, we put this mission, sir, we put that mission. We want to put a genset foundation, that foundation, this trailer foundation, this, that. For everything, it would be eligible. Only exclusion is going to be this. True. Now, let me come to a next situation. Quick, I want a little response is little faster. See, this is just a testing of your earlier discussion with all its combination. That's all. Beyond that, nothing great here. This thing. Works contract services provided by a sub works contractor to main works contract. ITC. Eligible, not eligible. ITC. If you want, I can add little fragrance. ITC for other than plant and machinery, just to add fragments only. Actually, the question has no great relevance, but in any case, see here we have a subcontractor who provide subcontracting services. This subcontractor though he provides the services of subcontracting to the main works contractor. Eligibility of ITC. Now the transaction is between subcontractor and main contractor. Eligibility of ITC. Type 2, transaction between works contractor and sub works contractor for both plant and machinery and pick. Both situations, ITC eligible, ITC not eligible. Vishnu Prasad, answer is right. Good. Aishwarya, answer is right. Good. Good, Pavitra, good, Ganapati, good, good. Balaji, yes, good. Indika, Vivekanandan, Deepak. Deepak, check your answer. Deepak, check your answer. Now, sir, what is that you are bringing below? Nothing. You had a construction company. That construction company is doing the work to the car manufacturing company. But that construction company will appoint subcontractors. They Kirtana Gajendran, check your answer. First part of the question. நீங்க நான் திருப்பியும் சொல்றேன், car manufacturing company, Kia Motors, L&T Constructions below, subcontractor of L&T Construction. Now the discussion is between subcontractor of L&T Construction and L&T Construction. Sir, in whose perspective I should answer? L&T Construction's perspective you should answer. I don't want to bring some names, then our mind will be thinking only about that names. Final level, we should think from the profile of the company, the prospects and the discussion. Yes. Very interesting to note. My main contractor, L&T Construction, is eligible, is a works contractor. Whatever constructions made by me, in all my constructions, I am entitled to claim. Yes, understood. Can we move forward? Yes, sir, in both situations, sir. Yes, in both situations. The situation does not end here. This time, if they give to a works contractor and that person is going to take a few crore of rupees, so what the company decided, we will construct the building by ourselves only. So what they did is, they decided to buy various materials on their own and decided to construct the building on their own. Okay, one minute. Made a mistake. The company decided that they would do by themselves certain activity. One of their discussion was what the company decided was they themselves that they will do by themselves. I'll come back to same old two questions. Goods or services, various goods or services procured for construction of own factory building. This is one question, or I'll just rephrase it. One part of the question. Next part of the question, same, but this time for not factory building, for own, for support structure to plant and machinery. Own construction. The company themselves will buy 10 metric tons of steel, 5 metric tons of various raw material, and they will do their own construction. Situation 3, discussion which now warranted is your type 3 discussion, where own construction by a person. Yes, ITC eligible for both situations. Both situations you should answer. If I construct myself, my factory, sir, which means what you are saying. Kia order calls Tata Steel, supply me steel. Shankar Cements, supply me cement. What Phenolics, supply me wire. What tile, Vinuja, Anuj, supply me tile. What, hey, you supply 3,000 labor to me. Hey, you supply capital goods to me. Company can do anything. As a company, they decided to construct own, because if they do it on their own cost, the cost of construction and plant and machinery, all support structure to plant and machinery, all put together come to 720 crores only, as against 750 crores of contractor. So I can save 30 crores. 30 crores is sizable amount. So organization decided to on its own. Now we have to decide, when a company buy goods, services, everything on its own, what will happen to them? Quick. We have another 3 more scenarios to discuss. In the diagram clumsy agla, very tanama irukum. Quick. Vivekanandan, second limb answer, you had given me only one answer. Ambika, second limb answer. ரெண்டு லிம்பா கேள்வி கேட்டிருக்கேன், எனக்கு அப்ப ரெண்டு லிம்பில் ஆன்சர் வரணும். Or if this is your general answer, revisit your answer. Balaji, revisit your answer. Shweta, second part of the question. Nothing great about it. If you carefully note, this is the way in which it operates. One more. Some error. So coming back here, do we have further variations? Yes. If my main business, if my main business is going to be other than construction, and if I buy goods or services for construction of my own factory building, ITC is not eligible. Again, if I buy goods or services for support structure to plant and machinery, ITC is eligible. Sir, இது என்ன சார் ரெண்டும் ஒரே மாதிரி இருக்கு அவ்வளவுதான். See, ரெண்டே மாடல் தான். ஒன்னு கான்ட்ராக்டர் அப்பாயிண்ட் பண்ணி பில்டிங்கை கன்ஸ்ட்ரக்ட் பண்ணுங்க, இல்ல சொந்தமா பில்டிங் கன்ஸ்ட்ரக்ட் பண்ணுங்க. சொந்தமா பில்டிங் கன்ஸ்ட்ரக்ட் பண்ணீங்கனாலும் குட்ஸ் சர்வீஸ் வாங்கி ஆகணும், கிரெடிட் கிடையாது. கான்ட்ராக்டர் அப்பாயிண்ட் பண்ணி வாங்கினீங்கனாலும் கிரெடிட் கிடையாது. முதல் ரெண்டு லைன் அப்படியே நியூட்ரலா பாருங்க. You appoint a contractor, you do it by your own, ITC blocked. You appoint a contractor for plant and machinery support structure, ITC eligible. Goods or services bought for plant and machinery support structure, ITC eligible. The main targeted fellow is now comes in there. பிரசன்டேஷன்ல இவ்வளவு கலர் ரொம்ப நாளைக்கு அப்புறம் இன்னைக்கு தான் யூஸ் பண்றேன். எனக்கே வெக்கமா இருக்கு கலர்லாம் இருக்கு. யாராவது இந்த பிரசன்டேஷன் இப்போ பார்த்தாங்கன்னா அவ்வளவுதான். Story is different. Come back here. Goods or services let me repeat, goods or services procured for construction of factory building. I have been construction of factory building followed by goods or services procured for construction of plant and machinery. Of course, support structure only. Yes. Now a point comes to us. Just give me a minute. Yes, we need to discuss about the fourth type, type 4, where the construction company purchases goods or services for construction of both. Are they eligible for ITC? They buy the goods or services for type 4, both case, ITC eligible, ITC not eligible. Quick. How instantly you answer shows your grip on the topic. Okay, and these grips and all, if you took lifelong, that's all. This is the position, mark my word. The grip that I took in this topic, not today. The grip that I took in this topic is sometime during 2011. Sir, அப்பெல்லாம் ஜிஎஸ்டியே கிடையாது, சர்வீஸ் டாக்ஸ்லேயே தான் பொசிஷன். அங்கேருந்து இப்போ ஒன்றும் மாறவே இல்லை. ஓகே, கிளியரா வச்சிருக்கோம், அப்படியே எடுத்துட்டு வந்து பேஸ்ட் பண்ணிருக்கோம். So precedents of earlier decisions, various understanding, various interpretation, all are helping us today. Shweta, check your first part of the answer. A lot of you all right. Whoever answered. both situations, ITC is eligible. There are no block at all. See, come on, the words used is own construction. When a contractor constructs a building, he is not making his own construction. When you want to construct a house, you engage a contractor. Your contractor is not making his own construction. When you buy material, you are making a own construction. That is the distinction which we need to appreciate over here for our discussions. True? Yes. We have discussed about different types. So still we have further discussions. The next limb of the discussions will come out. What are those limb of discussions? It is going to be nothing great here. It is going to be the repair and maintenance of buildings. See, everything is repair and maintenance only, but this repair and maintenance, be very conscious. Sometimes the repair and maintenance is so substantial, it will get capitalized. Sometimes the repair and maintenance is not substantial, it will be charged to P&L account. Sir, how can I distinguish? That's accounting, Pakka accounting. Where the benefit is going to be enduring in nature, we need to capitalize it and depreciate it. If the benefit is not enduring in nature, it's only one-time benefit. I need to keep up insurance on building, some small maintenance activity, wiping activity, cleaning activity of building, all that. Repair and maintenance of building. What will happen? ITC eligible, ITC not eligible is the answer. Sir, which model, sir? All model. It could be contractor, it could be procurement of goods. It is a, see, I am not much bothered about a works contractor further division, because for a works contractor, it will be like this. From a company perspective, you can answer. From a company perspective, if they maintain a repair and maintenance of a building or a support structure of a building, what will happen? ITC eligible, ITC not eligible. If they appoint a contractor, what will be their answer? If they buy the goods or services on their own, what will be the answer? See, these two situations, this two only. Done? Yes. Quick, quick. A last type, a type 5. A last type, a type 5. Repair and maintenance of both buildings. Repair and maintenance of both buildings. Quick. ITC eligible, ITC not eligible. Vivekanandan, can you be little more specific in the answer? Ambika, nice answer. Pavitra, a nice answer. Balaji, I believe one more part is pending with you. Ganapati, check your answer. Ganapati, check your answer. I believe it's vice versa. Kirtana, check your answer, revisit your answer. It's not based on this way, it's based on different model. When it comes to repair and maintenance, we don't give much emphasis to what is that building. We give emphasis to something else. Balaji, you can see everything is a business expenditure. Everything is in furtherance of business. There cannot be something which is non-furtherance to business. Something more is expected, Balaji. Vishnu Prasad is right. Sai Subrani is right. No, 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 no. Maybe I'll emphasize it once again now also. If the expenses, if the expenditure is capitalized, is one classification. If the expenditure is charged to P&L is the next classification. Maybe that is the way in which somebody has to look this. Why? Because if the expenditure is capitalized as usual, no ITC. If the expenditure is charged to P&L, then they are eligible for ITC. So when it comes to the discussion on eligibility of repair and maintenance, we go by the category, whether it is, what is it, whether it is capitalized or not. If it is capitalized, then okay. If it is not capitalized, that's all. Do we have anything else, sir? No. There's a conclusive discussion on actually 10 line items, 5 different combinations. Okay. A more can be done on this, enough. We have spent quite a good time on this discussion, more than a hour. That sums up the discussion. From this nook and corner, every single point is touched. Any questions if you have on this regard? Yes, you can raise your hand. I will take it up. But make sure you are complete in these discussions. Every tick here, every into here gives a message very loud and clear how it has to be interpreted. In other words, 17.5C, 17.5D, explanation to 17.5C, explanation to 17.5, two explanation, two sections are brought in. Repair and maintenance is an explanation. Capital plant and machinery is what? Is an explanation given in the act itself. Considering all the explanation, all the contents, this small chart comes out as a flow diagram to us for a better understanding. True. Make yourself on this 5 transactions. Take control of this 5 transactions. Ante. That's all. Beyond that, nothing. Quick. Any doubts? Yes, I will take it. If you want to take a screenshot, yes, you're most welcome. A little copyrighted diagram, not to be seriously shared. Vivekanandan, the end line of discussion is not like that when it comes to repair and maintenance. When it comes to repair and maintenance, the end line of discussion comes out and says you use the building for own use. You even use the building for other than own use. We don't mind about it. As long as you use the building and the expenditure is expensed, charged to P&L, you are entitled to claim ITC. Yes. So nothing. You will be eligible. Any doubts? Yes, we will take it up before we move forward. One minute. Some of these discussions on the other day also we saw, we'll quickly revisit those discussions. All those goods or services, in case on which tax is paid under Section 10, ITC is ineligible. A non-resident taxable person is not eligible to claim input tax credit. If he is going to be a non-resident taxable person, then he is not entitled to claim input tax credit on whatever goods, whatever services that are procured from him. But something very important and interesting to note over here is all these persons who comes from foreign country, they may bring some goods along with them. On the imported goods on which IGST paid by cash at the time of import to the customs department, on that item alone, they are eligible to claim ITC. Whatever goods or services procured by them in-house is not eligible for it. All those goods lost, stolen, destroyed, written off, disposed of as free sample, they are not eligible for input tax credit. See, many times we have to be little careful in the way in which this section is worked. Just give me a moment. Real version of the section. The way in which this section is worded, we often highlight to everyone that we have to be a lot more careful as compared to earlier because of a very simple reason and understanding associated with this. Section 17.5, when it start blocking its credit, if there is going to be a loss of goods on account of fire, a loss of goods on account of all these activities, no doubt ITC is getting blocked. But very carefully, they have coined certain terms and they have included all those goods that are lost, stolen, destroyed, written off, or disposed of by way of gift or free sample. Look at that wording. Disposed of by way of gift. Disposed of by way of gift. Disposed of by way of free sample. I'll get into this very technical term. Disposed of by way of gift. What do we mean by disposed of by way of gift? Maybe that word gift is a little lacking here in the presentation. Disposed of by way of gift or free sum. When it comes to disposed of by way of gift, see, it is a practice in many businesses, maybe not practiced in testing times like this, but regular is every year they will give a gold coin to one of their prominent dealers. It's a habit. Many company, along with seasonal functions or a seasonal methods, they'll give a gold coin. Now, my point here is on the gold coin purchase, am I eligible to claim ITC? A company purchases calendar, a company purchases diary, planners, various items they purchase, and they give it to all their known persons as part of their brand building. It's one brand building activity. Certain companies take a lot of effort in this. I know, I personally know. And they also ensure whether it has reached all of them meticulously. It's one activity by themselves. Last 1 week of Diwali or maybe let's say a week of Diwali, or it is going to be New Year gifts, all this is possible. My question is very simple. On the New Year gift given to various dealers, distributors, I'm purchasing diaries, which I'm going to give it to my vendors. Am I eligible for ITC? Is the question before you. Because rest all is easy. In this whole state, goods lost, goods stolen, lost by floods, Kerala floods, ITC reversed. That's all. Goods destroyed, reverse ITC. That's all. So, when I was about to travel, it got destroyed. To the extent of destroyed, reverse ITC. Very clear. Quick, 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 quick. Come. Quick, quick. ITC on the gifts like calendar, diary, which are all given. ITC eligible, ITC to be reversed. That's all. Means not reversed, sorry. ITC eligible or ITC ineligible. Gifts such as calendar, this, that, and all. So they may sometimes give you gold coin, sometimes they might give you some gifts, sometimes they might give you a pen engraved with your name. So all those gifts, ITC is not eligible. At least from an exam perspective, read it. ITC is not eligible. Yes, done. So, any ITC on account of fraudulent activity, ITC is getting blocked. That sums up the whole discussion relating to ITC, blocked ITC. We have a clear discussion pending on special circumstance. Let's not take today's special circumstance. It is a little voluminous discussion, a discussion warrant 1.5 hours of discussion. Let's take a simple section like section 19, which is very simple. How much simple, sir? That's all. A very simple section, section 19. To my mind, section 20 is also simple. Nothing great about it. That's all. 20 is done. That will take you to 20. Najma முடிஞ்சிடுச்சா சார்? ஆமா. Then you'll get into the next topic. Coming back here, 19. Section 19 discuss about ITC eligibility in respect of goods sent for job. Can the principal claim ITC? Was a bigger question came. Because understand, there is a principal. That principal is going to supply goods to a job worker, send the goods to the job worker. Job worker process the goods, convert into finished goods, and send back the finished goods to the principal. Actually, who is eligible to claim input tax credit? The person who has received the goods is eligible to claim input tax credit. Similarly, on whose possession the goods is, only that person can claim input tax credit. If tomorrow, as an officer, if a person comes and visits, and if he asks, where is your 100 kg raw material? If that fellow scratch, sir, 100 kg raw material, I don't know, sir. Then he'll say fraudulent ITC, ineligible, block that. Then he'll say, sir, 100 kg raw material, 20 kg is there, balance 80 kg given to job worker. Here, look the delivery challan. Can the principal still claim ITC? Yes. There will be different situations where when you cross-read this section with section 143, which discuss about jobber, section 143. Section 143 discuss about jobber, where section 143 makes the discussion very clear that, and it's one of its subsection, it allows principal to give instruction to his supplier of raw material to deliver the goods directly to job worker. Principal will give instruction to his supplier to deliver the goods to the job worker premises. Now, fundamentally, I'll ask you one question. Has the principal received the goods? Principal gives instruction to the supplier to deliver the goods to his job worker's location. What we told as per section 16 for conditions for taking credit, I should receive the invoice, I should receive the goods, then I am eligible to claim ITC plus other two conditions. Now, I will receive invoice. Will I receive the goods? No. Practically not possible. To give effect to this and legalize these models, they came out and told principal, when he removes the goods to the job worker, he is still eligible to claim credit, but with one condition. Whatever goods that are sent to the job worker, it should come back in case if it is raw materials within 1 year. If it is a capital goods, it should come back within 3 years. I can buy a capital goods and give it to my job worker and ask my job worker to do. I will claim ITC. I am a principal. If you come and visit my factory, I will not have that mission itself. Where is the mission? Job worker premises. Here the delivery challan. Ensure that capital goods comes back within 3 years. Do businesses happen like this? Yes. Business in those circumstances? Yes. Now, can I use the term deemed to be received? Specifically, section 16.2 has a deeming proviso. That deeming proviso will not be applicable to jobber because the way in which it is drafted, it speaks more about recipients, okay, than the, what is it? It speaks more about the recipient's perspective. In this case, to avoid, even before that, they made a discussion very clear. In case of job work, principal is entitled to claim ITC on whatever goods, capital goods, inputs which are procured by him. Even if it is directly delivered into the premises of job worker, yes, it is allowed. Now, only one aspect. If within 1 year, either inputs is not returned back or 3 years, the capital goods is not returned back, it would be deemed, as supply, and the principal is liable to pay tax along with interest. Let me repeat, if within 1 year, the finished goods does not come, a rare and the rarest case. Within 3 years, capital goods does not come. Exceptionally, it would happen. In those cases, it would be treated as a deemed supply. A genuine question will come. Which day, sir? Next day after 3 years or first date of removal, it would be treated as a deemed supply on the date of removal. The day in which it is removed, on that day, it would be treated as supply. Sir, I never received on 365th day, which is 1 year. I received it on 485th day. Very simple. Reclaim the credit. Here itself they are saying, whatever tax you paid, you are eligible to reclaim. Then why I have to pay, sir? Interest will become the cost to the company. So beyond that, nothing great here. Section 19, read along with Rule 45, prescribes a form which need to be filed called as Form ITC 04, which talks of what are the delivery challenge that are used for sending the raw material, what are the delivery challenge through which you received the finished goods. When I map it, I'll get a quantity reconciliation. It's a pakka quantity reconciliation form. 100 kgs raw material I sent, that fellow given me back 95 kgs of finished goods, 5 kgs of scrap. Or scrap was retained by him, he will pay GST if he is a registered person. In case if he is an unregistered person, I would pay GST. How to deal about scrap is not a discussion under section 19. How to deal about scrap is a discussion under section 143. அப்போ 143 வந்தீங்கன்னா பேசுறதுக்கு டாபிக்கே இல்லாம போயிடும். Okay, here only one important aspect. Inputs, capital goods can be sent to a job worker. ITC still can be claimed by the principal. Goods, inputs and capital goods can be directly received by job worker. ITC still can be claimed by the principal. What are the goods removed? What are the capital goods removed? A declaration need to be filed quarterly basis in a form called as ITC 04 with the department. All those goods that are sent, either received and sent or directly supplied, has to come back. If it is raw material within 1 year, capital goods within 3 years, failing which it would be treated as supply, deemed supply, and leviable to tax along with interest. When I paid it and at a later date it came, reclaim the credit. That's all. That sums up our discussion relating to section 90, and this leaves us 2 topics, or rather 2 sections for our discussion. One, which will be in relation to your special circumstance ITC. Another one which will be in relation to your IST. Both situations, both would roughly make 2 hours discussion, which we would make it up in our next session, and that would comfortably conclude 2 things: part A of the discussion and part A of the discussion and your conclusion for ITs. Yes. Any doubts? Yes, I would take it up. Thank you all for effective and patient. Thank you.